She was just a teenage girl walking home under the streetlights, headphones in, unaware she was being followed. The man in the dark thought she was an easy target, but what he didn't see was the shadow behind her, silent, watching, waiting. She wasn't alone, and what happened next no one expected. The town of Whitmore Falls had always been quiet after dark, a place where porch lights flickered on at 7, and by 9 even the dogs stopped barking. But on this particular night, the stillness was broken by something colder, something watching. 14-year-old Emily Jensen had stayed late at the library, finishing a school project. She texted her mom before leaving, but her phone battery was dying and the bus had stopped running. With only a 10-minute walk home, she didn't think twice about cutting through the back alleys to save time. She adjusted her backpack, pulled her hoodie tight, and started walking. Her sneakers echoed softly on the cracked pavement. She hummed to herself, unaware of the shadow slipping silently from the corner across the street. A man in his late 30s, unshaven, hands buried in his jacket. He had watched her exit the library alone. He had waited. The man's name was Greg. He'd been drifting from town to town, never staying long enough for anyone to remember his face. He looked like any tired man, nothing that would alarm a passerby, but his intentions were far from ordinary. Emily turned onto Millstone Lane, the shortcut behind the community center. It was narrow, lined with dumpsters and high wooden fences. The street lamp flickered overhead. Her phone died in her hand. She sighed and kept walking. That's when Greg started to move. His steps were practiced, deliberate. He stayed in the shadows, ducking behind trash bins, staying just far enough that she wouldn't hear him. He reached into his coat pocket, not for a weapon, but for a cloth, soaking in something that smelled strong and dangerous. Emily paused suddenly. She thought she heard a scuff behind her. She looked over her shoulder. Nothing. Just the long, empty alley. Still, she walked a little faster, clutching her bag tighter. Greg matched her pace, like a shadow mimicking every move. Then out of nowhere, a trash can fell with a loud crash behind Emily. She spun around, heart racing, but saw nothing. That's when Greg took his chance and lunged forward, his hand outstretched. But before he could touch her, he stopped. Because from the darkness behind Emily, something growled. Low, deep, unmistakable. Greg froze mid-step. That sound, it wasn't human. A deep guttural growl vibrated through the narrow alley, rattling his chest. It wasn't the kind of warning bark a neighborhood dog might give. This was primal, dangerous, the kind of sound that made predators turn and run. Emily turned too, wide-eyed. She hadn't heard the growl, but she saw him. Out of the darkness stepped a massive dog. No, not a dog. A black German shepherd, lean and muscular, with eyes like molten amber. Its fur shimmered under the flickering street lamp, and a thick collar hung loosely around its neck, worn, almost military style. It moved like it had training, purpose. "Rex?" Emily whispered, surprised but not scared. The shepherd stood protectively in front of her, growling louder now, not at her, but at the man behind her. Greg stumbled back instinctively. His hand shot up. "What the hell?" he muttered. That second of hesitation sealed everything. Rex bared his teeth. He didn't lunge, not yet. He was waiting for a command, or maybe a mistake. Greg glanced around, hoping to escape none noticed, but the alley had only one way out now, behind the dog. And the girl, she didn't even look scared anymore. She was staring at him now, piecing things together. Rex stepped forward slowly. "I wasn't gonna hurt her," he stammered, backing up into the wall. I got lost, man. I thought she was someone else." Emily didn't say a word. Her hand reached down to Rex's neck, not to pull him back, but to let him know she was okay. It was subtle, a gesture of trust between them. She knew him. This wasn't a stray or some lucky coincidence. This was planned. Greg realized it too. You trained this thing? He spat, trying to sound angry, trying to keep fear from cracking his voice. What kind of kid walks around with a killer dog? Emily looked at him, her expression unreadable. He's not a killer, she said quietly. Unless he has to be. Rex stopped growling but didn't drop his stance. And that's when Greg noticed something else. A small camera attached to the shepherd's harness, blinking red. Are you serious? He hissed. Are you filming this? No, she replied, but someone is watching. Greg's face turned pale.
The silence in the hospital lobby was deafening. Aaron Carter, still holding Janelle's trembling hand, stood like a force no one dared challenge. The two men in suits behind him took a single step forward, and suddenly even the air felt different, thicker, heavier. Dr. Whitman tried to recover. "Mr. Carter, I had no idea." Aaron turned slowly toward him. "No, you did not. You saw a black woman in pain asking for help, and you chose to insult her. That tells me everything I need to know." The security guard stepped back instinctively, realizing he was on the wrong side of something very big. The nurse behind the desk had quietly set the phone down. Her face was pale now. Aaron helped Janelle to her feet with gentle strength. "Breathe, sweetheart. I've got you." I did everything right. I followed all the instructions. I just wanted to be safe." "You are safe now," he said, brushing her soaked hair back. "He is not going to hurt you anymore." Aaron's voice then shifted again, calm, controlled, but sharp enough to cut through steel. "You will bring a gurney, now." The nurse bolted out from behind the counter, not even waiting for an order. Within seconds, 2 staff members rushed in with a stretcher. The doctor still stood frozen. Aaron looked at him one last time. "Your name is on her chart. That means you were her assigned physician, which means you were paid, and very well, for her care. Instead, you mocked her. You endangered her. You failed." I did not know who she was," the doctor stammered. "You did not need to know," Aaron snapped. "She is a woman, in labor. That should have been enough." The doctor's jaw clenched. "Are you threatening me?" Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Oh no, I do not make threats. I sign contracts. I make phone calls. I make sure people like you never humiliate another mother again." Aaron turned back to Janelle, who was now lying back on the gurney, breathing through the pain. "Let's get you upstairs. You are going to be okay." As they began rolling her toward the elevator, hospital staff suddenly appeared out of nowhere, as if they had all been hiding in the walls until now. A senior nurse rushed forward. "We are so sorry, Mrs. Carter. Please, right this way. Private suite, top floor. Everything has been prepared." Aaron followed closely, not letting go of Janelle's hand. "And make sure there is an anesthesiologist ready. She has a birth plan. Respect it." "Yes, sir, absolutely." Dr. Whitman tried to follow. "Wait, she's still under my care." Aaron stopped in the middle of the hallway. He turned back slowly. "No, she is not." Then without another word, he pulled out his phone. One button. One call. "Marshall?" "Yes." "Effective immediately, Dr. Stephen Whitman is to be removed from the Carter Health Fund list. No payments, no grants, no future contracts. And make sure the board sees the security footage." He ended the call and walked away without looking back. The doctor stood alone in the lobby. The weight of what just happened began to settle in. One moment of arrogance had destroyed his career. Back upstairs, Janelle lay in the private delivery suite, surrounded now by a team of respectful, attentive professionals. Her husband stayed at her side the entire time. The pain was still there, the fear lingered, but something deeper began to settle in too. Peace. Aaron leaned down and kissed her forehead. "I will always protect you, and our baby." She smiled faintly, her eyes glassy. "You already did."
When Aaron Carter entered that hospital hallway, it was not just a man walking in. It was thunder wrapped in a black tailored suit. And with every step, silence followed. Nurses froze mid-sentence. Phones stopped ringing. A hush swept across the floor like a warning. He did not say a word. He did not need to. The security guard who had shoved Janelle earlier backed against the wall, suddenly remembering exactly who she was married to. Aaron passed him without a glance. Two administrators scrambled to greet him. "Mr. Carter, we apologize for—" He raised one hand, and they went silent. His eyes, sharp and unblinking, scanned every face, and then he said only two words. "Where's my wife?" In a room upstairs, Janelle lay trembling, not from pain, but from rage held in her chest too long. Her contractions came stronger now, but no one spoke softly to her. No one called her Mama or held her hand like they did for the other women. She was alone in a sea of white coats and cold hearts. Then the door creaked open, and in that moment, everything changed. Aaron entered like a force the universe had been holding back. His face softened the second he saw her. He rushed to her side, dropped to his knees, and took her hand in his. "Baby," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "I came as fast as I could. I am here now. I am right here." Janelle's body shook. Her voice cracked. "I was so scared. They treated me like I was nothing." Aaron pressed his forehead to hers. "You are everything, and they will regret every second they made you feel small." He kissed her hand, then stood tall. He turned to the doctor. "You, out." The doctor, pale now, stammered, "Sir, Mr. Carter, I was just trying to—" Aaron's voice dropped, cold, controlled, dangerous. "You ignored her pain, you dismissed her fear, you judged her because of her skin and her silence, and now you are dismissed." Before the doctor could answer, a woman in a navy pantsuit appeared in the doorway, flanked by hospital board members and legal counsel, the hospital CEO. Her voice cut clean through the room. "Dr. Whitman, you are suspended pending formal investigation. Hand over your badge, now." The doctor's hands trembled. "Please, I did not know who she was." The CEO's eyes narrowed. "That is the problem, doctor. You should not have to." Aaron turned back to Janelle, brushing her hair from her soaked forehead. "It is over now. No more fear. Just us." Her eyes filled again, not from pain, but from something deeper. Relief. A nurse stepped in. "Mrs. Carter, it is time to push." Aaron held her hand tighter. And as the labor began, Aaron never let go. He spoke to her softly, reminded her of their first apartment, the tiny one where they used to eat dinner on the floor. He told her how he used to lie awake at night just to watch her breathe, how scared he was when he first found out she was pregnant, and how it turned to joy the second she smiled. Through every contraction, through every breath, Aaron stayed, until a cry. A tiny, fierce, perfect cry. Janelle collapsed back on the bed, sobbing. The nurse smiled. "It is a girl." Aaron froze. Then, slowly, gently, he took the newborn in his arms. His breath hitched. She looks just like you," he whispered to Janelle. "The same strength, the same fire." He looked down at his daughter, then at the woman who had just survived cruelty and childbirth all at once. "I swear to you," he whispered to them both, "no one will ever make you feel small again." And in that hospital room,
where pain had lived just an hour before, something sacred was born. Not just a child, but a new kind of love.
2 days later, sunlight poured through the hospital window, warming the small bundle in Janelle's arms. Her baby girl, wrapped in a soft pink blanket, blinked up at her with those same bold, beautiful brown eyes. Eyes that would never know the pain her mother endured, but would carry her strength. Aaron stood nearby, arms crossed, face calm, but only on the surface. Because outside that room, the world was beginning to notice. News had leaked. First, it was a hospital intern who posted anonymously. A pregnant black woman was ignored by staff until her billionaire husband showed up and heads rolled. Within hours, the story spread. Then came the footage. Security cam clips of Janelle being refused help, of Dr. Whitman walking away from her as she clutched her belly in pain, and finally, a silent freeze frame of Aaron Carter storming down that hallway like justice itself. The internet exploded. Hashtag Protect Black Mothers trended worldwide. Celebrities, activists, even medical professionals began sharing their own experiences, exposing how too often women like Janelle were treated as invisible. Back at the hospital, the board moved quickly. Dr. Whitman was fired. The nurse who rolled her eyes at Janelle, gone. A new diversity and equity task force was launched, named after Janelle. But Janelle? She never asked for any of it. All she wanted was to be seen, to be heard, to be safe when she was most vulnerable. And now she was. As she sat quietly, rocking her daughter, a soft knock came at the door. It was the hospital CEO. But this time, no assistants, no security, just her. She entered slowly. "Mrs. Carter, I just wanted to say, I am so sorry. What happened to you was unacceptable." Janelle nodded. "Yes, it was." The woman took a breath. "But if you are willing, we would like your help. Not just your name on a committee, your voice, your leadership. Help us change this, for real." Aaron looked at Janelle. "And Janelle?" She smiled. Because she was more than just a patient now. She was a mother, a survivor, and a force. "I will help," she said, "but not for your hospital, for every woman who does not have a billionaire husband to speak for her." The CEO nodded, speechless. Later that evening, as the sun began to set, Janelle stepped out of the hospital, her daughter in one arm, Aaron's hand in the other. Photographers and reporters crowded outside. "Mrs. Carter, how do you feel? What message do you have for America's hospitals?" Janelle paused. She looked directly into the camera, and she said, "Do not wait for a man in a suit to show up before you treat a woman with dignity. We are worth it before you know who we are." Silence followed. Then, applause. Not from the cameras, but from the nurses watching from inside, from patients leaning out of their windows, from women across the world who finally felt seen. Aaron wrapped an arm around her. "You were always the strong one," he whispered. She leaned into him, her baby cooing softly. "No," Janelle whispered back, eyes full of tears. "I just finally stopped hiding it." And as they stepped into their car, driving off into a world that would never again see her the same, the little girl in her arms opened her eyes. Eyes that had seen nothing yet, but would grow up knowing her mother once changed the world.